So, the big gaming news today is that IGN had to fire a writer for plagiarism. If you're not familiar with plagiarism, that is basically taking somebody else's work and passing it off as your own. Basically what like lazy third graders do when they forget to do their math homework and say, "Hey my dude, can I borrow?" I don't think third graders are going, "Hey my dude." But you know, they grab their friend, they say, "Let me copy your math homework, please." And then they copy it down and they barely change any of the answers. And like the teacher's like, "Whatever, I'm not getting paid enough to really care." But not to get into our failing school system. We're here to talk about our failing games journalism. So basically the story goes like this, and I'm reading a fantastic Kotaku article by Jason Schreier, one of the best gaming journalists in the business. So basically what happened is that the IGN writer, their Nintendo editor, Filip Miucin, he reviewed a Nintendo Switch indie game called Dead Cells, which is allegedly fantastic by everybody who said it, who actually played it, unlike the old Philip. Well, he did play it, he just didn't leave enough of an impression for him to actually write on it. Basically what Philip did, he found this YouTube channel that barely had any much of an impact. The person on Twitter, like his Twitter account, Boomstick Gaming, they had less than 100 followers. Even now, like hours after this blew up, he's still less than 1,000 followers. Like, it was just, he found this random YouTube channel and he said, "Boy, I'm just going to rip this off and use his work for the biggest gaming channel of all." It's incredible and it's just ridiculous. So as you can see here, I'm just going to do a brief example. It's all throughout his video review. He basically takes what Boomstick Gaming says, barely rephrases it like a third grader would do, like if they forgot to do a book report. "Yeah, I read the Giver too. Yeah." It's just mind-boggling that somebody's so lucky to get such a position, because the Nintendo editor at IGN, that is a job that thousands applied for. People who have worked in this industry for years applied for that, and this kid gets the job and then doesn't give a shit about actual journalism or criticism. Now, here's an example. Boomstick Gaming said, "In most games of this genre, your coolest skills and spells are often set to strictly long recharge timers or a limited mana system. But in Dead Cells, your abilities have incredibly quick recharges and allows you to seamlessly integrate these gadgets in normal encounters, and it doesn't make you feel penalized for using your cool stuff." And Philip says, he basically takes their exact words and repackages it. He says, "Most games limit your most useful skills with long cooldown timers or a limited mana system, but Dead Cells encourages you to use your deadliest gadgets with a fast recharge timer. It never punishes you for using your best tactics." Like, holy shit. Like, it goes beyond, because there are lazy writers who will basically take the press sheet that they were sent and rewrite it and, like, add a score and some criticism. That's just bad writing. This is, like, the intent is clearly Philip is ripping off Boomstick Gaming. It's mind-boggling. And it makes you go, where the hell did IGN find this guy? Well, he does have a background in game coverage, kind of. He ran a YouTube channel. He was successful, but he wasn't like a huge name in gaming. He had around 60,000 subscribers, which is a decent amount, like a good start. But you're still not a big name when it comes to YouTube with 60,000 subscribers. The company I work for, people have hundreds of thousands, people have millions of subscribers. And even people with 200,000, they're not the biggest deal in the world. They're just a dude that does a YouTube channel. They're not Anthony Fantana. You can look at his LinkedIn page and you can see he did go to college. But there's one thing he's missing here. You look at his bachelor's, mass communication, media studies. Look at his associate, mass media. He didn't do straight up journalism. He doesn't have the background required to be working at the largest outlet in the world. And you don't have to go to school for journalism to be a journalist. But he didn't work his way up through the ladder. He wasn't, he skipped the whole stages of putting in your dues. He wasn't writing for sites like PlayStation Universe. He wasn't writing for your DualShockers. All these reputable sites that work your way up to a full-time paid position at a GameSpot, at an IGN, at a Kotaku. Typically you work your way up freelancing in staff writer positions at smaller sites. He didn't do that. He did his YouTube channel for a year or two, and then he got hired to be the voice of IGN's Nintendo coverage. IGN has nobody to blame but themselves in the situation. They should have done a better job looking through his stuff. He wasn't qualified for the position. Straight up. It's totally clear that this guy was in over his head. I don't want to paint him as a sympathetic figure, because he's a hack, and that's 100% the truth. But clearly he was in over his head in this position because he wasn't ready for it. And he didn't know how to craft criticism. He didn't know how to come up with good takes that somebody would expect. The nuanced criticism that somebody would expect from a IGN review. And I'm not trying to trash IGN, because they have some writers that do fantastic work. For example, Chloe Rad, one of the best critics in all of gaming. She's fantastic. But then you get somebody like Filip who doesn't know what he's doing, and he's like, oh god, I don't know how to phrase this. So he's just looking for others and repackaging their stuff. And this isn't the first time. People don't just plagiarize after years of being straight and narrow. I've never plagiarized anything. I've written over 300 reviews. Never once did I go, let me look at what somebody else wrote. Because here's the thing. Most writers don't read any reviews until after they've published theirs. Because they want their own unfiltered thoughts. They don't want to... Because even if you're just on Twitter and you're going, oh, okay, somebody else likes this game, that can tarnish your thinking there. You want to have your own thoughts unfiltered. You kind of put yourself in your bubble when you're reviewing something. Sometimes you know yourself good enough and you're confident in your abilities, you might talk to some other reviewers and ask them how their playthrough going, and that's not a problem. But when you're a young reviewer, and Filip clearly was a young reviewer, he should have not been looking at other people's reviews. He should have been locking himself in a bubble of sorts. He should have been the bubble boy. It's just ridiculous. And this isn't the first time. As Kotaku found via a tipster, he had also plagiarized from Nintendo Life Reviews for FIFA 18. I'm not going to read the quotes, but basically the same thing, where he was just rewording stuff. And there's probably more the more you look. It's a disgrace. And the thing is, IGN is the biggest site. So this casts a shadow. There is a trickle-down effect. Trickle-down economics might be total bullshit, but guess what? In public opinion, totally true. This puts shade over all of game journalism. Good critics are going to be attacked and doubted, despite being some of the hardest working people I know. Some of the most underpaid people I know that are doing this for the love of the industry and their love of the craft and trying to further both journalism and gaming. And they're going to be doubted now because of this hack. It's terrible. We have to put the blame on one person, and that is Filip. IGN should have done better hiring, but, the mistake was made. Hopefully they do their due diligence going forward and hire more people like Chloe and deserving writers rather than going for people like just this random YouTuber that wasn't even that good at YouTube. There's so many great hardworking writers, and they give the full-time position to that dude. I hope people don't think that every writer is corrupt. Obviously, it's happening. Plagiarism is a real issue in the industry, but usually it's not happening at a site like IGN. It's happening at your smaller sites you've never heard of, like GameStart.co.eu. If I sound like anything like a real outlet, I'm just putting random words together. GameWatchPressStart.net. These weird outlets that nobody's ever heard of. They're not happening at larger sites. Now, there are sort of plagiarism going on at larger sites, and it's mostly really bad news writers. There's some at some of the biggest sites that I won't name, but every editor can tell you about this if you talk to them privately. They know who I'm talking about. But there's certain writers at some pretty large sites that are terrible at news writing and basically steal stories rather than sourcing them properly and basically rewrite other people's stuff. And that's terrible, but it's not the same as totally ripping off somebody's criticism, which is a whole different ballgame. And that's why Filip was fired, because you can't plagiarize, man. That's the first thing you learn in school. If you're in any college, any university, if you plagiarize anything, you are getting expelled. It's not a slap on the wrist. It's not, oh, you messed up, you can learn from this. You're getting expelled. It's the one thing you can't do. They do have to be held responsible. It is the writer's fault. But outlets need to be catching this stuff. You know, it shouldn't be down to this YouTuber with like 1,000 subscribers going, 20,000 subscribers, you know, finding it. Like, we gotta be better. We gotta be better than this. We gotta do better than this. Games deserve better than this. It's a problem. I hope this is a wake-up call. IGN has done the right thing by firing him. I'm sure somebody more deserving and not a hack will take his position as Nintendo editor, and it will go on. But, you know, it's an embarrassing day for games journalism. It's not, like, totally surprising. It's surprising it happened at such a big site, but, you know, like, if you told me, hey, somebody's plagiarizing reviews and it's on Metacritic, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, it's usually a super small site, but I've seen this before. This isn't the first time it's happened. But it usually gets caught. It's not most game journalists. I can tell you that as a fact. Most critics are working so hard and are so underpaid, it's not even funny.